everyone. I'm Dr. Cecily. So today I want to talk about the topic of actually having boundaries, which is really interesting. I was thinking about when we don't have boundaries and others cross over them, we need to start setting up boundaries for ourselves and how we respond when people cross those boundaries. That can be in your career, that can be in relationships, that can be in your whole relationships, period. First of all, it's about clear communication, which is very, very important. Clear communication and setting up boundaries that you have set and forced for yourself and for others. Communicating those boundaries to others for them to understand this is what I am, this is what I'm presenting to you, and see what they say if they understand your boundaries. So you don't make the mistake of, assuming they know your boundaries, and then when someone crosses the line, you feel quite offended. And what you do is you put up a wall. And that wall stays there, and you're like, okay, what do I do to do with this wall? How do I get it down? Or how do I communicate? So first of all, if they don't know your boundaries, you got to go back and have a conversation and say, look, this is where I stand on this, and or this is how I felt, or this is how I'm feeling. These are, you own what you're feeling or what you felt. This is how I felt, this is how I'm feeling, and I wanted to have a conversation for you to understand where these feelings are coming from and how I was feeling at the time, or how I felt at the time of you crossing my boundaries. Simple words, because you can have that and okay, think you have boundaries, but then your boundaries are you're always put to the test if you're going to really stick to your boundaries. And make sure that you're doing clear communication, exactly what it is you want and what it is you seek. And that's important. Sometimes that can be very scary because you might not even know what your boundaries are until someone gets up into your personal space. Some of us don't, are all up in people's face talking. And that might be a little bit too much. Like some people actually literally step back like that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they're doing that. Mm-hmm. You're in their boundaries. You're in their you're in their space. And they would to tell you to step back. But, and sometimes we get all emotional, be like, yeah, our head be going, or our bodies be moving. Or we're sitting there and we got our voice is loud and we're not really expressing. We're doing all this dynamic and building all this energy around us, which is really unnecessarily. So if you're not good at with clear communications, you're going to constantly get tested to make sure that you're doing clear communication and how to put this across. Some people say, oh, you're so nice and all of this and blah, blah, blah. And they think your niceness is a weakness, but it's not. And the thing is, with those type of people, you got to learn to be assertive. Okay, that's not the way. You got to learn to be assertive. And that's new for other people. It's really new. How do I be assertive without offending anyone? How do I stand up for what I believe or what my rights are, so I am not being assaulted, or I am not feel like someone is walking on me. How do we take those steps? What do we do, or how do I go about it? And another thing is actually writing down how you want this conversation to go. Number two is actually visualizing the conversation that you're having. And you also want to sit down with them either with a cup of tea, something to drink, something cooling, something that is just very calming, not somewhere where everybody's going and all this energy, because that negativity feeds off of that 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 energy, and it brings like make you hyper sometimes, like oh you're hyper, hyperactive. So that's something that I want you, to think about how where you set your communication, where you're talking. Is it in a quiet place? Can they hear you? Is it the best time? Even just sitting down, like I said, and saying, let's go out for a cup of coffee, or let's go walk on a beach. So it don't necessarily have to be your girlfriend or an associate. It could be your partner. If you're not doing clear communication and set up boundaries where with each other, then that is not good as well. And you want to define these things in your life about your boundaries and about your communication. You want to define and know, what you're seeking. You know what I mean? You want to make sure it's understood. What is the purpose of this? How it affects you? How it affects them? What it looks like? These are just some basic questions that you want to think about and ask yourself. How do I go about this? What is it that I think needs to be done? How do I go about making this seem great and moving quite along? That's something to think about. You don't want to offend anybody. You don't want to put pressure on them, and you don't want to put pressure on yourself. So what you might want to do is take a couple of days, meditate on it, write it down, say it, and then call them up and say, hello, would you like to have a cup of coffee? Would you like to have a cup of tea? I would like to discuss something with you if you have time. Let's get together. And also make yourself accountable for your behavior and your actions. You're not accountable for their actions or their behavior or their response. Some might respond with good, like, oh wow, thank you for letting me know. Some might respond with negativity. You are not responsible for that, and that is none of your business. You came, you talked, and I don't yelling. Yelling is not talking. Screaming, jumping up and down is not communication. And listen, open your ears up and listen to what someone's talking. And sometimes we have a tendency, which is I am guilty of sometimes, is I have something to say and a thought comes in. So you know what I think? When you have like a thought comes in, like a thought be coming in my mind, I'm like, okay, I have a thought. Write it down. So when you're talking, have a pencil and paper with you and write down your thoughts. So as you're going through this and things are being discussed, you can write it down. Then after they finish, say, you know what, I hear what you're saying, but this is what I would like to discuss with you, and go back over your points. And let them know, I did hear what you're saying. That is very a key point. I do hear what you're saying. I do, I understand. But can I make I would like to make a point here, or I have something that came to me as you were talking, and can I share these views with you? And share them. Ooh, shoot. Something is like, ooh. Only here, right? Only here. But my ear's been itching. So I thought about this and how to respond respond in the past. And how in the past is basically, I basically don't talk to you. I've actually picked up and moved out of one state to another state and communicated back because I felt someone was being intrusive on my life. That's just me, the gypsy and me. You know what? I'm going to remove me, my family, the whole situation. But instead of talking to them, because I was uncomfortable with confrontation, and it doesn't have to be confrontation. That was not a skill that I learned growing up. I just don't like it. I don't like debate. I like peace. I like harmony. I just, you know, just not in my was not in my repertoire to and how to handle it. So that's something I had to learn as I get older. When people stepped over their boundaries, how to put them in place. Because you're an elder, I respect you, and I let you say stuff. Well, that's also a thought too, because someone's older does not mean they're wiser. But you can let them make their point and say, "Can I point something out to you? Let me share something with you. You know, I don't understand, and you might not understand my path. And everybody's path and how they get about where they're going is very different. A spiritual path, relationship path, career path, just their path in general, it is totally different. And how it might seem like the actions that people are taking are like, but they differ. They differ so much. And that's very important to understand. But again, everything is key point. Number one, clear communication, definitive boundaries, and having them in place. Now, when someone oversteps those boundaries that you have set up, make it clear and hold them accountable. I did this and I made you aware. I repeated back to you several times, this is what it was, this is what I was going to do, and you've crossed the line. Now, it's up to you to see if how much it irks you or put you on defense, how you respond. You know, if it's money loss, if it's total disrespect. Sometimes we let, things go like that one time or maybe twice, but the third time is like, no. So I gotta shut you down. Let me pull you to the side. That's what I do. Could I talk to you for a minute? Come here. And I'll say something, but like I said, I'm the person, I don't like to be around a lot of negativity, so I'll remove it. And the way I go about it is not everybody's thing. I'll move country, town, city, whatever. I won't be in the same thing. And that's what I did. Instead of facing that, and I realized no matter where I go, I would encounter the same lesson about me asserting myself over and making my boundaries very clear about what it was and what I was going to accept and what was unacceptable to me. And saying, again, just like a relationship, this is what's worked for me, this is what works for me, what works for you. Are we compatible? And how does that look? That's my question. How does that look to you? Wow. Big difference. You'll find it looks a lot different. What you think something look like might not be. So that's why it's important. Clear. I keep saying clear, definitive boundaries and communication. That means verbally speaking or even writing it down. And some of us have a tendency like, well, you know what, they didn't know better, or we'll make excuses for them. Well, the reason they did that is because they had a bad childhood, or You know, the reason they did that is because everybody does that to them, so they don't know how to respond. Or, you know what, life is so tough. You know what, life is tough for a lot of different people, and how you respond is how you move forward. And it's tough. If life was a piece of cake, everybody would be walking around here rich and all at the same spiritual. We would be balanced, but it's not. Life comes with valleys and peaks and all kinds of things. And it's for us to get through that and to understand where we're coming from. That's the important part. How do you feel? What makes you tick? What is my boundary? What is off limits? Which is a definite no-no? What is, or better yet, what is a deal breaker for you? What is a deal breaker? And did you let the people know in your business, in your relationship, and the things that you do, this is a deal breaker? Everything you do, you need clear communication, definitive boundaries, and it has to be effective. If not, people are not going to know when they cross those boundaries over and over again. Because they're like, oh, I did that to her, girlfriend of the life, girlfriend, boyfriend will forgive me. Yeah, honey. That's the kind of person. No. That's a form of disrespect. And the thing is, why give someone else more respect than give yourself? That's something to think about. Why are you giving that person more respect? Some of us, because we're trying to buy love, that's one. Others is because we don't want to be lonely. That's number 2. Number 3 is that we're not sure. So we are not sure. And then 4th is self-esteem. Because we're not sure in ourselves, and you can see the most confident woman and or confident man, but in certain aspect in their life, you'll see where they're being trampled on. It's like, wow, they speak very well, they're like this, they do this, and they do this, but in their life, their daily life, what they put is not for that other part, is not there in this section of their life. So we got to bring that together so it comes into a happy medium. This is all about learning. You're a mother. When you become a mother, you set boundaries for your children, right? And if they cross that, you have discipline, action, or consequences for them not following through or not going by your boundaries. As a father, you set boundaries for your children. You set up expectations. As a father, and sit down and do clear communication and let your children know what you expect from them, and say, let's sit down and let's have a talk. This is what I expect for you to do. These are the rewards if you're doing such and such. Whether you're going to college, whether you're getting a job, whether you're living at home. This is definitive, and this is important. First thing, parents say, I expect you to go to school. I expect you to graduate. Expectation was, for me, my mother said she wanted me to go to high school. She wanted me to graduate it without having any kids. I did. I worked. I went to school. I graduated. I had no kids. My goal is I was supposed to get a car when I was a kid, but I went into the service a couple months after getting out. But those are expectations, so we put those expectations and we sit down and we communicate with our children. I expect you to go to college. I expect you to do better and beyond that I can do. And we try to open the doors for our children is for them to be blessed, because we figure if the more education they got, the better they'll be able to make it in the world. Sometimes that's true, and sometimes that's not true for our children. Sometimes that's true for our children that we're in guardian of, or people we're raising. So again, it's about boundaries, parents' boundaries, career boundaries. When he sits down with a contract and tells you exactly what is required of you for this job and have standards. That's a clear communication contract. Same thing with life. And they let you know, if you don't do this is the outcome. You will be fired. You will not have a job tomorrow. When you go to college, they have expectation. If you don't do this, you don't get a grade. And if you don't pass this semester, you got this semester, and then you get a degree. So you understand, everything is about clear communication, whether it's written, whether it's verbally. But these is letting you know your expectation. So the world needs a clear, definitive communication. I just can't say this enough. And for our people that doesn't like confrontation, like myself, it's hard to be assertive. I'm assertive with a lot of other things, but certain parts, my aspect of my relationship, because I want to help so much, I'm not assertive enough. Or I have somebody, oh yeah, girl, I like what you do, and da 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 da, and I'm going to hire you, blah 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 blah. They be talking, just flapping those gums, and Spirit said, okay, let's see if they're gonna come through and show up and show out for you. And they said, okay, yeah, I got your back, girl, I got your back. And then somewhere around the line, they might flip the script. Well, I know this girl, she can help you, and she'll help you for free, or call us for that. And then they'll say, girl, you got a discount? Girl, we've been homies for way back. Girl, give me that discount. I know you got a discount. I know you can help a sister out, or you can help a brother out. I got cancer, so I really want to work. This is how it is. This is in business. So again, you have not to be afraid, and what I learned, not to be afraid and say, no, this is my prices. I don't have a discount. This is what I expect. This is what you get, and this is what it is. And this is my background, and let them know this is why XYZ is XYZ, because this, and then people look at you, okay. Wow, you defined yourself, you're explaining yourself, and that's what it is. And if they're a good friend or someone that wants to do business, what they will do is say, you know what, I understand, I respect that. Let me get back to you. A gentleman said that, did an interview with me. It was so sweet. Did an interview with me, and he's like, wow, that's amazing. And I said, wow, okay, thank you. Next thing I know, this gentleman tells me, he says, at this present point, I can't afford your services, but thank you. And he said, and I'll be back. Now that is respectful. And I didn't take offense. I was like, okay, got you. Blessings. I had to respect that. So I like when people are upfront and say, okay, what's your price? And I tell them my price. I like people like, you can't do such and such and such, or try to barter you down. But if they want those Gucci shoes, as my daughter Lacey said, Mom, if they want that Gucci pocketbook, or if they want that Prada shoes, or they want, what is it, my brand back in the day? Oh my gosh, Claiborne, a Liz Claiborne outfit, they'll put the money to go get it. Or if the dude wants this car, the Ferrari, Lamborghini, whatever, they will save their ducats. Do you hear me? They will save their ducats to get it together, to get that car, get that note, get that insurance, get that driver's license, and make sure they're seen. And also, knowing they have to do that, they have to fix. They can't just take it into your regular dealer. So the warranty. So they're taking time to invest in that investment. So they understand the clear communication when they're buying their products and they're paying for a brand. Same thing with you. You are a brand, and it's all good. And there's going to come some people, like you're doing such and such. No, I'm me and they're them. So don't let somebody compare you and make you feel like you need to discount your services to appease them. Have clear communication with people. Make people accountable. That's what I'm saying. So I want to say this has been Dr. Cecily. I'm hoping my pointers have helped with clear communication and understanding. And that will be the topic tonight on Food Alchemy Network on Blog Talk Radio. So if you would like to be part of that, I invite you to be part of Blog Talk Radio, to call in and be part of it. We look forward to hearing from you. Blessings.